Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and today I have an awesome ranked Skellige deck for you guys. And this is actually a deck I made yesterday on stream, and then proceeded to play in ranked and go 10-2 with. So here's my stats, for example. It's a pretty decent deck. Most specifically, it's really good against monsters. I've got a 6-1 win rate against monsters, which is pretty nice. The deck I imagine it doesn't do well against is control deck, so stuff like Radovid control, Squirtle control. I imagine that they're gonna kind of do well against you, but this deck is a Skellige Weather Axeman deck, and nobody sees weather coming in Skellige, so often they'll mulligan their weather control. But this is the deck you can see here. It's got a lot of options for card advantage as well, which is nice. And yeah, I've just seen a lot of success with this deck, although now I feel like because I'm recording it's going to go terribly wrong. So the gist of this deck is that we have our Axeman, and our Axeman, whenever an enemy is damaged, they get boosted by 1. So we're going to basically be boosting these bad boys up to lots of points, and then we've got lots of resurrect so we can bring them back if someone happens to kill them. We also have options for deck thinning, which makes the deck really consistent. So we have King Bran. When you play him, you discard up to 3 cards from your deck and strengthen the units among them by 1. So we can use these to get the Clan and Crate Raiders out of our deck. And that's a 19-point power play, which is really nice because then if you're going up against the Northern Realms, which has, say, Dunbanner Cavalry, which get pulled at 20-point advantage, you won't trigger them. On top of that, we have our 3 Clan Drum and Shield Maidens, which deploy damage unit by 2. If it was already damaged, play a Clan Drum and Shield Maiden from your deck. So we can then thin our deck with these, and then in order to make sure we've got more cards, or the cards that we need, we also have Avalanche. If neither player has passed, both players draw the top 2 cards from their deck. So these are the ways that we're going to be basically gaining cards. Then we have the ways that we're going to be dealing damage. Now, some of you guys might question some decisions in this, but honestly this deck is very successful, so I'll kind of explain it. So we've got our 3 weather effects. We've got Skellige Storm, White Frost, and Drought. And the thing is, because we have so much weather, we can actually use White Frost to try and, pull out their weather clear, for example. Skellige Storm, again, really nice, hits multiple targets, and Drought hits 3 rows, so this is pretty good as well. On top of that, we have Blue Boy Lugos. When you play him, he spawns a Spectral Whale on your opponent's side. This is a 3 strength unit. Every turn, at the start of your turn, move this unit to a random row on its side and damage all units on the row by 1. Now, this card you might think, is not very good if you have weather out. But this is kind of there for if they clear your weather, then you can then play Blue Boy Lugos and still deal plenty of damage each turn. And if they don't clear your weather, you're getting lots of damage in per turn because you've got pretty darn strong weather. So you're still going to be boosting your Axeman. So I find this works really nicely. We also have Okvist. After 4 turns at the start of your turn, damage all enemies by 1, return this unit to your hand, and transform into an exhausted Okvist. So we use this to deal damage, and by dealing damage, even though he comes back into your hand and you lose points, you should be gaining points on your Axeman. On top of that, it's a way of gaining card advantage. Another way we have of gaining card advantage is Ulderic. Deploy the top 2 cards, draw the top 2 cards from your deck, keep 1 and discard the other. So again, another way of gaining cards along with Avalanche and the deck thinning. We also have our resurrects. We have Sigurd Driffer and the 3 Priestess of Freyas for if someone does happen to remove our Axeman, or if we want to play an Axeman strategy on a subsequent round, we don't have to worry too much about being able to find them because we should be able to resurrect them. On top of that, we have our 3 Clan Brockvar Archers. Deploy damage 3 units by 1. So this is fantastic for popping eggs if you're against monsters, and also 3 damage boosts each of your Axeman by 3. We have Yennefer the Conjurer. Every turn at the start of your turn, damage all the enemies, all the highest enemies by 1. So this is pretty good because it whittles down your opponent's strength. And then from the bottom, you can whittle them off with Drought. And finally, we have Coral. Coral, pick a unit and damage all units on the row by half its power. And you can kind of force your opponents to stack 1 row using something like White Frost, which puts weather on 2 of the rows, which then synergizes really nicely with the Coral. This is the deck. If you like this deck, hit that thumbs up button. I'm going to jump into a ranked game now and showcase this deck in action for you guys.
That's Thai cellmate tower.
Mead! More mead!
Okay, so we're up against monsters, and this makes us happy because obviously this is a pretty good matchup for us. In terms of the mulligan, you're obviously getting rid of any extra Shield Maidens that you have and any Clan and Crate Raiders. We have 1 Shield Maiden. You want to hold on to 1 and then get rid of any extra on top of that. We have Axeman. We're ideally looking for a couple Axeman and a couple Resurrects. We've only got the 1 Resurrect, so I don't want to mulligan that. At this point, I usually mulligan Clan Brockvar Archers to see what we can find. Okvist, Ulderic, so we've got card advantage options. Avalak and Coral, Shield Maiden, Axeman, Priestess, Drought, White Frost, and Tremors. All in all, I'm pretty happy with this hand. We could potentially mulligan Tremors to try and find something like Skellige Storm or Lugos or Yen. But because we're going to be deck thinning anyway, I'm actually pretty happy with this deck and this hand. So if we're going first, typically what I'll do is I'll just start thinning the deck. So we'll play Bran, place him down, and get those Axemen out of our deck. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, out they come. And that's a nice tempo play to get started, which means if you do choose to play Weather, that you've already set up some tempo. The other thing that's good about this matchup is Avalanche, because what Avalanche does is he'll make your opponent draw cards. So if they're running deck thinning like Arrakis, often you can, or Neckers, often you can cause them to draw those, which isn't really so helpful for them. So there's the Behemoth. We'll pop out the White Frost now on the middle row and the back row. This is good because the Arrakis will spawn on this middle row, and will also start to damage his units, which sets us up quite nicely for the Shield Maiden. Which we can use to, say, remove his Arrakis, for example. It also means that if he does have Weather Clear, we might bait it out, which means that then we can play Drought and cause him some trouble. And there's the Weather Clear. And potentially we just go in with the Drought on this round. This isn't a bad round to do it on. Ideally, we'd want to wait for him to play a few more units is the only issue I have. So I'll pop Ogfist out for now and start to get him counting down, which is nice. This will also bait any locks that he might have, which means if he wants to lock our Axeman, he can't do it. And then if Ogfist does end up in the graveyard, we can always resurrect him. Okay, so there's units on every row. We didn't manage to make him draw with his Arrakis, but now seems like a good enough time to play the Drought. His Water Hag is now in his graveyard, which means he can't decoy it. So this is pretty good. And out comes the Weather. And now you might notice, we're dealing damage, but we're not haven't played any Axeman, but we can now play an Axeman, and then we can look to play the Clan Drum and Shield Maiden, and this is going to put us in a pretty tasty spot. I guess he's thinking of going for a Consume Effect to try and, mitigate some of this damage that he's taking. Maybe try and eat up some of those units so that they don't take damage. Yeah, he's going for it. There's 1. He'll eat the weakened one, I guess. There's 2. Oh, he's not going to eat the weakened one. I was hoping he would eat the weakened one, but we'll hit the Ekamara, so we can still use the Shield Maidens on the next turn. But for now, we'll just catch him up with this Axeman. And honestly, I think that Ogfist has kind of put a time limit on this hand for him, because by having Ogfist and the Drought out, which he clearly can't deal with, he's having a pretty tricky time. Then the damage triggers from the Drought, and our Axeman gets buffed. And there's the past. So you can see he doesn't really want the Ogfist to trigger. We could play something and allow us to keep the Ogfist, but it's fine if it goes into our graveyard because we can probably Sigurdriffer it. So we'll pass here and take the round nice and easily. And that's the kind of power of Weather. And bear in mind, we still have Skellige Storm in this deck, so we still do have Weather options. And we have the Avalanche in order to thin the deck. But what we really want to do here is we want to play our Clan Drummond Shield Maidens and try and thin the deck before we play Avalanche. That is a lot of Resurrect. We really don't need this much Resurrect. We only have, the 1 Axeman to Resurrect. So I think we'll go for a mulligan here. The risk is that we pull a Shield Maiden, but we're actually fortunate enough to get an Archer. And usually I feel like that's a worthwhile risk, to be honest. So as things currently stand, we can actually thin out 2 Shield Maidens onto this Ekamara. And I'm thinking that's probably worthwhile. It means we might draw one with Avalak, but that's really okay. It doesn't mean this Shield Maiden's not going to deal any damage. Oh, I guess I hit my teammate. Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot you could hit, your allies. Maybe not the smartest play there. But just be aware that you can hit allies with the Shield Maidens. We maybe should have played the Ulderic first. He's going to take my Axeman, isn't he? Or my Ogfist? Okay. This is mostly okay. He's using it to try and get card advantage and points, but I think we'll be able to do something about it if we play Ulderic. We'll stack him in the same row, and we'll take Sigurdriffer. We can discard the Priestess of Freyr, and that's basically okay here. And then we'll look to force him to draw in just a second. Ideally, we want to pass before the Ogfist ticks so he doesn't get the benefit. The carry over there with the Ekamara is a shame, but not the end of the world. Oh, I said it. I always say it. Right, so we'll go with Avalak and see what we can pull. We got an Axeman, and unfortunately we got a Shield Maiden. So I think we can probably pass around now, and stop the Ogfist trigger. This is going to be a little bit awkward, but because we have a lot of consume, we have a lot of resurrect and stuff, this should be okay. And we'll pass and try and see what else is in the deck. I maybe should have played something first, like played the Ulderich first and then done the consume, but this is ultimately okay. He can play a card and get Okvis back, but he doesn't really want to do that. Ultimately, whatever's in his hand is going to be better than a 6 strength. What is this? Silver. Hey, Lugos. So we could really do with another Axeman here. Being able to only resurrect 1 is going to be kind of costly for us, especially if he locks it. Skellige Storm is nice though, so we'll look into that. And I think we'll start by probably playing the Skellige Storm and getting the damage on the board. And once the damage is on the board, we'll then resurrect the Axeman. The only risk we have here is if he's running Griffin to take things from the graveyard, but typically decks don't do that, so we should be okay. Oh, he's going to eat it. Unless he goes for points. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. Oh, this has been really bad for us. Like, really unfortunate only drawing the 1. As it is, though, we can still deal a lot of damage to him and hopefully still win the round. This is a bit of an unfortunate situation that we found ourselves in with the Caretaker into the Katakan. He's taken our Okvis, so we can't resurrect that. But we can still, you know, resurrect points. It's not like there's nothing in here that's any good. There are, you know, a lot of points we can still pull out. And we can still also pop his Harpy eggs. The thing here is, the only problem here is Lugos is going to be in a bit of a sticky position. I think what we'll do is we'll pop the eggs here. Because what he wants to do... Oops, I don't want to shoot that one. What he wants to do is he wants to basically get 3 units together that maybe he could lightning potion them. That sometimes happens. Not often in consume, but occasionally they have 1. So you want to basically make it so that he doesn't have units stacked and that he can't start chaining consumes. There's Giels into Succubus. He'll have to play this on his side. Oh wow, he's taking the 7. I guess it is worthwhile in the grand scheme of things, but ultimately I wouldn't say that that is the smartest play I have seen. We don't have quite enough units for Stumble for Tremors. I want him to have 1 more. So let's just go for a resurrect. He has capped. Unfortunately, he's capped this row, which means that you're not going to get as much damage out of the. You're not going to get as much damage out of the Skellige Storm as you would like, but you're still getting 3 damage per turn, which is still pretty good. Although what this does means is that Lugos gets on the end, he shouldn't get 2 damage, so potentially I think we play Lugos now. He's stacking my row. I wonder if Korean Theory is coming. He did give me 10 points though, so that's pretty nice. I think we'll get Lugos out now and start to get the whale damage on the board. It's such a shame we don't have an Axeman here. Oh, he did the Frightener return play. I'm not too bothered by this. He's not going to get hit here because he's obviously safe on the end of the row. And we're getting a lot of damage out. He's going to eat it. Rude as heck, mate. Rude as heck. But if we get more units stacked on the front row, this is also good for us because we can, again, just deal damage. If we shoot both of these, then I don't think that's really going to help us. We'll wait for archers, I think. I guess we just resurrect another Axeman for now. I mean, the good news is these Clan and Crate Raiders are protected. How did this one end up on the front row? Oh, Frightener, of course. I was going to say, they're protected by the Blue Boy Lugos, so, you know, even if he does have Raiders, it's not too bad. So we can Tremors here. He's going to eat this, which is annoying, but if he does eat it, you know, we're quite nicely set up for Coral, which is pretty good. I think for the time being, we're just going to play, if we just play Tremors. Get some damage on there. We're still not in a bad spot. It would have been nice to pull an Axeman or a Conjure. I maybe misplayed with my Shield Maidens. So Igni's going to burn 2 7s. That's a pretty decent Igni, all things considered. But if this guy keeps eating, then we should get a lot of points out of Coral. So that's pretty good as well. I'm going to resurrect a Archer because then I can start shooting his units effectively. We'll shoot this one, and this one, because obviously I'm going to Coral these ones, so it's not too bad. We are quite, you know, far behind though, unfortunately. 36 to 33 with 2 cards. We are going to be able to do a lot of damage to the Vran Warrior, so that's nice. Marching orders into a Harpy. We can pop the Harpy. The question is, does he have Vran Warrior? Because if he has Vran Warrior, we definitely want to pop the Harpy. He's actually using the weather to pop the eggs himself, I guess. So he does intend to pop the eggs, which means we don't want to shoot them for him. We'll shoot these 3 units here. You know, he's going to get his egg pops from the tick here, but hopefully they land in the front row, because if they land in the front row, you know, we're going to get a pretty decent Coral. We got one of them in the front row, which is not too bad. And this is still, you know, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wait, 11 and 6, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 5 points. And more because of the front row play. So let's get this damage and we'll see kind of where we stand with this matchup. It's gonna be close, you guys, is the thing.
That may be amusing.
It would have been nice to have last play because we could have maybe let the next eat trigger. We are ahead, so this is good, but if he pulls another Necker, I think that might be a game for us. And there's the Grave Hag. If we'd had Axeman, we 100% would have won this round. But as it is, you know, with the Grave Hag, there's not anything that could have been done, really. Unfortunate situation. I think it was just bad draw. Ultimately, like, we did lose, and I realized, like I said, as soon as I started streaming this, we're going to lose, but I think that came down to bad draw more than anything else. Anyway, I'm going to jump into another game, and I'll showcase this deck in action for you guys.
Onward, sons of Nilfgaard! Of course, friend.
Hey, we're playing MegaMogwai. Look at this. This is like a show match. I think his is it thinning? The question is he going to try and, like, thin all my cards? That's what I want to know. We'll mulligan a Raider, a Shield Maiden, and definitely an Archer here, I think. We got 2 Axemen. I got some Resurrects. We got White Frost. We got Coral. We got Avalanche. This is okay. I think I don't know what kind of deck this is. Often they play like the thinning one. There's also sometimes control versions of Nilfgaard, but this is probably Nilfgaard, which means potentially Avalanche we don't want to play. We'll kind of keep an eye on what he does and see. He is running 26 cards though. That's something to be aware of. I reckon Golems will come out. Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea what this deck is going to be. Opponent's turn. Okay, what have you got? Show me. I mean, it might be the mill version with Siri Dash, for example, where they try and mill out all your cards and then... Or mill out all their cards and basically be consistent with their draw. Or maybe they try and mill out my cards. I've heard of Nilfgaard, but I've never actually played against it or looked into it, so I actually don't know what the strategy is. There's Golems. There's John.
I shall not repeat Amir's mistakes.
Maybe we open with Bran. It's a low tempo play, but it'll not Bran, sorry, Weather. It's a low tempo play, but it'll kind of get us going. I'm not sure if I want to Weather yet. I don't think I want to Weather. Although I could Weather the middle. Do I go for the back row or the middle 2 rows? Because the thing is, if I go for the back row, I'm kind of setting up for Rot Tossers. But obviously Nilfgaardian Knights and stuff go on the front row, and Spotters and stuff go on the middle row. So I think we'll just Frost here for now. And this way we don't have to worry too much about the Cow Carcass. And then if he does have Clear Skies or whatever, we can get it out of his deck.
Let us see.
Okay, Cantarella. So clearly he wants to kill the Cantarella with the Cow Carcass. That's his strategy here. We can try and protect it, but we can't play one. We can't play one unit unless we play Axeman, protect the Cantarella, then resurrect the Axeman. That is a strategy that'll hold us some points, but I don't know if it's the right number of points. Alternatively, we allow this to happen. Although I think we can actually shoot it with an Archer.
By the rates of Morhog.
Let's just do that. This is, I think, the better play. I was thinking about exactly the best way to do it. And this is why I think it helps to talk through what you're doing. Because if you talk through what you're doing, you can kind of figure out more or less what it is your strategy is, basically. Which is good. I never pay attention to names normally, but this is going to be fun. He doesn't know what to do. It's quite amusing. We can actually thin out our Shield Maidens on the Rot Tosser, so I think we play an Axeman next and then thin the Shield Maidens. And that's not a bad strategy. And we probably play the Axeman in the back row to protect against the Rot Tossers.
What do you need me to do?
Okay. So we have a tempo play, but we have Although actually the Shield Maidens might protect him. We'll put him here. You have Stefan Skellin. I wonder what he's put at the top of his deck. It's interesting. This is an interesting matchup. He could pass and go 2 cards up, which would make my life quite difficult. That is potentially what he could do. You know, I didn't make a big enough tempo play, unfortunately. But then we could just thin our Shield Maidens and be 2 cards down. And I think the thing is, first round you dictate the tempo of the second round, and people don't like it when you can dictate the tempo of the second round. What are you gonna play? Hopefully he plays more cards. I'd rather not go 2 cards down, if that's all the same. Oh, he's not sure. He doesn't know what he wants to play. But this is the thing, because people don't see this deck a lot on ladder. So then they're like, what do I play? We can leave this for the time being. We've got another thing in hand.
Give them no rest, no reprieve. Our shields are our rampart.
I probably should have killed this Rot Tosser in case he has a decoy or something, but that was more damage, which is good. And then Roach is going to die, which is also good. And then this also gives us multiple targets for Archer, because if we have the Archer, we can now shoot both of these rather than just having one target, which gives us more buffs on our little Axeman. The thing is, you know, Peter's going to be able to reset him, so that's one thing we do have to be a little concerned about. Like, he is going to be able to Peter reset my Axeman. Though at the moment he's only got 8 points, so we can always play a second Axeman. The thing is, if you play a second Axeman, often then they want to Orcs you. So we're going to try and see if we can bait out the Orcs, because he might be a little bit worried about it. Because these decks will run Peter and Orcs, so that doesn't I do not question that. Vilgefortz, okay. Into an Emissary.
Please wait, Your Excellency.
Into...
Falling behind.
Into the weather. So, out you come. And we'll shoot these. And, yeah, we're in a pretty happy place here, I would say. I would say we're in a not a bad spot. We probably want to play King Bran and get our tempo play out. This is the thing, like, you can hold off on your King Bran play, and life is pretty peachy for you. Because then even if he does reset our Axeman, you know, we have a 19-point play in hand. And if we carry that across to the next round, those Axemen will get buffed, so it'll actually become a 23-point play, because they'll go up to 5s, plus the buff from the Axeman makes them 6s, and 3 6s on the front row is still pretty safe. The risk we have with playing our Axeman, though, is he might have Vicavaro Medic, and if he has Vicavaro Medic, you know, life's not going to be so fun for us. I think we'll play Bran, because then we can play Avalak.
Or me.
So, Axeman, Raider, and Raider. And this is going to make our deck thinning, you know, nice and happy, which is good.
Praise be the bravest.
We're in a pretty sweet spot. I wonder if he'll go for Resilience. I mean, he buffed this guy. So I'm wondering if this is like a Resilience kind of deck. We've had Vilgefortz and Stefan. I guess you have to be a little bit nervous about D-Bomb and Letho. These are cards that sometimes do see play in Nilfgaard, and they can be quite good against single units. But the thing is, you don't see them that often because Monsters plays a lot of small units, and it's not fantastic against lots of small units. The question is he going to just give it up? Or does he really want the round? He probably wants the round. What else have you got, Mogwai? I mean, he probably has another Rot Tosser, Imperial Brigade. He'll put Roach back in his deck. What did he put back in mine? Have I had anything dead? I don't think I did. Or maybe he put White Frost back in my deck. If he put White Frost back in my deck, that's totally fine. I can just redraw White Frost. And maybe I can make him draw Roach here.
You will see it.
Let's put this here.
Dream.
Priestess of Freya. And an Axeman there. So now I can actually feel a bit safer about playing my current Axeman. And hopefully we made him draw Roach. The thing is, the back row is also a decent target for Coral, though I don't want to commit too many gold cards at the moment. I've only played one, though, and he's played 2. So we're actually pretty okay in terms of our gold difference. We only have 1 bronze, well, 2 bronze cards left, so we have to be a little bit careful with drawing those because of Vilgefortz. Vilgefortz can be a bit of a pain in the butt.
Discipline. That is what you folk lack.
Maybe we'll just play another Axeman. We'll put him on the front row here. Although this is more laceratable. I don't know, he might lacerate the middle row. It's a low tempo play, but you know, he's getting buffed by the weather, so it's not too bad. He might bait out his locks. The thing is, ideally I don't want to have to play Coral. But I don't know if I'm ahead enough to make it safe. She's worth 7 and 5 here. 7 and 5. What is 7 plus 5? Maths. 12. Plus, she's worth 17. So she's a tempo player in and of herself. She's got 17, which isn't too bad. You can tell Mogwai hasn't played against a deck like this before, though. He's clearly taking his time and thinking about the different plays that he has. So you can you get a feeling that he's maybe not sure what's going on. This is not a common ladder deck, but I find a lot of success with it. So I don't think I can Brockvar Archer anymore, so I'm going to lose 15 points from that. But on the flip side, he's made my Coral worth more, so let's just do that. And that counts as a tempo play as well, because it buffs my Axeman. And I might have another Archer in hand. I don't, but I might. And I feel like at 92, you know, even though you're getting a 16-point swing here, you're in a bit of an awkward position. The problem I have is I have no units in the graveyard, so I need to be a little bit careful with that. But potentially we just play the other Axeman and just kind of get on with it. Or we play the Axeman here to protect the... do we play the Axeman to try and protect the ambassadors? He should only become a 4, so we could actually play the Axeman to protect the Clan and Crate Raiders, and I think that would be a good play. Because we can just resurrect him. You know, we have plenty of Priestesses of Freya. If MegaMogwai wants to keep going with this round. His problem is, like, he doesn't know what he wants to do, but he's committed the Rot Tosser, which means he's committed to another turn. Which is kind of awkward for him. There's a Lacerate. Hey, look at that. That's not what he wanted to see. That's not what he wanted to see at all. He wanted the tempo play, and he didn't get it. And the thing is, by waiting a turn with that, you know, obviously it didn't get buffed so much that it was a 5, and that's kind of where we're happy here. I'm not really sure why he's still playing. I guess he hopes that he could reset this down to a 3 with Peter. And that'll be... Although actually I think it'll kill it. So that'll be a big play. The question is, does he have Peter? I might have made him draw Peter. That is entirely possible. I also might have made him draw Roach, though. I'm impressed he's still committing this Peter.
I care for them.
And that's dead. And that banishes it, unfortunately. But all in all, we can just resurrect another one.
Modern Freyr is patient, but she brooks no insult.
Do we Emissary? Emissary will give us a Clone Brockvar Archer. Or we could go Ambassador, which is a tempo play. We'll put him in the Frost. And we'll buff her. That is actually a pretty decent play, I think. We also take it out of his graveyard. Because I don't think there's going to be enough rounds that resurrecting the Axeman would be worthwhile. The risk we have is that he can remove our Axeman with Vicavaro Medic, but if he does, it's not too bad. He's already played Fringilla. Not Frigilla, a Seer, so we can't put them back in our deck, which is actually good for us. And then we can always resurrect and pull the... We can always play the resurrect and pull the Archer if he wants to keep going. Which apparently he does. Because he's trying to force the pass here, and I think he's kind of crossed that, you know, it's not happened. I'm trying to think what he can play that's going to, you know, give him the tempo that he needs. That's not enough of a tempo play for him. We're still... How many points are we ahead? 14 points ahead. What can he play that's going to be 14 points? He can't play Tibor if I pass. Because if he plays Tibor, then... he can't play Tibor if I pass, because then that's not enough for him. we're going to get 4 damage. So he's actually on 55 and we're on 73. We've got 20 something points on him. A lacerate would be 15. An igni would be 4 and 11. That's not enough either. I think he'd have to go 2 cards down if he wants to win it. The problem is, you know, we don't have much tempo if we choose to keep going. I think we pass here. We could have resurrected the emissary and pulled the Clan Brockfar Archer. That was potentially a play. But I feel like we're probably far enough ahead here that he can't get it in 1 card. Especially with the frost ticking, there's another 4 points there, so he's actually only on 51. So he needs to play a 23-point play here if he wants to win the round. He can't play Tibor because I've already passed, which means that it won't trigger. So I would say all in all, we're actually in a really sweet spot with this current situation. Rainfawn, which pulled Roach, that's 8. Does he have Joachim? But Joachim gives me 5. It buffs those 2 though. Oh, that is a big play.
That was actually rather
Okay, so we're in a tough spot here. We're in a tough spot. I maybe should have gone for the resurrect. I don't know. It's a good one. Yennefer, Okvist. I suppose we just play Okvist here and see what happens. Do we mulligan a resurrect or do we hold on to a resurrect? I think we probably hold on to a resurrect. Although, if we mulligan a resurrect, we could get maybe something better. That's pretty good. And then if he straight passes, we play, I think we just play Okvist and kind of get on with our life. I think he might go for the pass here and try and regain card advantage. Come on, Mogwai. You can do it. I have faith in you. There's the pass, yeah. So we'll play Okvist, because if we draw Sigurd Driffer, we can just resurrect him. And, you know, it's not too bad. Like, him going in the graveyard's not really a big deal here. Okay. Let's see how this goes. We got another resurrect. Do we get rid of that and try and find something different? That's the question. I don't think that we do. I think this is fine. I'll open with Yennefer.
You best yield now.
You best yield now, buddy. He's looking at my graveyard, I think, which means he's looking at what he can Vicavaro Medic. If he takes the Axeman, it's annoying, but we have 2 in there, so I can always pull 1 back. The question is, how many rounds do we have? We have about 4 rounds to trigger the Axeman. So potentially he's worth 7. That's maybe not enough though, but then if we start dealing damage with the Lugos, he's worth more. He's already played Peter and he's already played Orcs, so we don't have to worry about those cards. So I guess we resurrect the Axeman, then play Blue Boy Lugos, then resurrect a Archer is probably where we go from here.
A shame I have no time.
Modern Freyr is patient.
Unless he has
She brooks
spores. If
no
he has
insult.
spores, but then he's using spores to remove the points, and that's kind of okay as well. The problem is he gets zapped at the start of my turn. I'd rather he got zapped at the end of the turn, because then I could buff him. But then potentially if he plays spores, he waits. He's probably smarter to wait with the spores. Until it's buffed up and then reset it, if he's running spores. I mean, we've seen, how many bronze cards have we seen? We've seen all of his silvers. He's got maybe 1 gold left. So he's probably just got 2 bronzes. 2 bronzes and a gold, potentially. Or just 2 bronzes. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Nausicaa charge! I'm glad these are on different rows. Although if they're on the same row, then we get potentially more value out of Lugos. Hey, you went to the right row. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, he's on 15. We're on 20. Does he have a reset? If he has a reset, it's going to be pretty nasty. But I think regardless, we need to resurrect. We need to resurrect the Archer. If he Vilgeforts and we pull Tremors or Archer, you know, that's pretty nice. If he plays Vilgeforts. Not Vilgefortz. Tibor. What if he doesn't have Tibor? But we get 13 if he does have Tibor. Oh shit, that's going on the middle row. Oh, we can shoot it. It's not a big deal.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone. Oh, wait, emissary. No, we don't want an emissary. That'll thin our deck. We don't want to do that. That'll give him 2 points. I guess we shoot you and you. 31 to 20. Alright, what's he got? 32 to 19. This is not a bad spot. Vic of Arabidic. He can get 10 points from this. Unless he goes for the emissary.
By the rates of Morhog.
I don't think it's enough. Hey, it's not enough. And the whale's going to move and buff us as well. And that's GG. Look at that. That was a really good game, you guys. I'm so glad we got this one while I was recording, as opposed to just playing, because it's awesome to be able to show you guys that. Unfortunate with the monsters matchup, but we just didn't have enough Axemen, and he managed to take them from us. And that was kind of a shame. But either way, fantastic game there. And, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. I'll link Mogwai's channel as well. He's a great creator. So you should definitely check him out. Beyond that, thanks for watching. If you like this deck, hit that thumbs up button. I really don't want this deck to be all over ranked, but I have a feeling it might be. Have a fantastic day, and hopefully I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!